Well, hi, hello. How are you doing out there in internet land? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and welcome to Front Porch Brunch, our weekend gathering where we get together, we talk about the news, we give our views, and we try to make sense out of this otherwise crazy thing that we call life. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So if you haven't done it yet, please share the link around. Tell your friends, come on in. Let's have some fun this morning. Let's talk about the news. Let us give each other a virtual hug, as it were, a pat on the back and say, you made it. Welcome to the weekend. Let's recharge the batteries. We shall go forth and do great and wonderful things. Glad to have y'all here this morning. It is a pleasure to be here. Again, my name is Brian Trippett. I am known in social media as the Front Porch Conservative. Sometimes I am referred to as the common man with common sense. Sometimes I'm called the wise guy in the wide brim. But in this moment, as always, I am referred to as your host. Again, we are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on YouTube. So please, come hang out, tell your friends, share the link around, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, hit the thumbs up. Daggone, hit the thumbs up if nothing else. So yes, we are glad to have y'all here. And let's see who all is hanging out this morning. We'll start over on Rumble. Looks like the OG Wingnuts are here. WWG1 is representing. T. Yagiati is here. Thank you. Glad to have you here, sir. Don't see TBA yet, but don't worry. He'll be floating around. You know how he is. He'll just slide right on in your DMs, and you have no idea. Oh, Z Highness. Mwah, girl. My heart. Good morning, Miss Gypsy. Mwah, glad to have you here in the house. Yes, she be representing the 199. Adam, one of my favorite crazy Canadians, he's in the house this morning. Let's see who else is here. The Duke is among us. Good morning, Duke. Glad to have you here, Pilgrim. Let's see. Good morning, Lana. Mwah, glad to have you here this morning. Oh my goodness, everybody's starting to settle it now. Look, I got a message for y'all. And not for everybody who's commented so far, but for all you lurkers out there. And y'all know who you are. Good morning, Robert. Boom. Glad to have you in the house. Now, you lurkers out there, you know you lurking. We love you. And you can speak up anytime you want to. Trust me. We don't bite much. We will respect everything you have to say. We may disagree with you, but you know what? That's okay. We disagree with you. You can disagree with me. You can disagree with the chatters. All everybody's got to do is be respectful to each other. And you see, the thing you find out about once you become a member of Fedora Nation is that it's like, hey, I may not agree with these guys on everything, but they're pretty good eggs. Yes, we are. We're slightly scrambled eggs, but we're good eggs nonetheless. All right. Good to have you guys here this morning. Let me take care of that's true too. To lurk is to live. That's true. You could lurk and you could live doing it. And good morning to you, sir. Boom. All right. Let's take care of some housekeeping stuff. I want to first thank Daniel R. Street. I want to thank Sean from Third Railify. I want to thank Kelly Lamb. I tell you what, I have had a fantastic week of live streams, either solo for the Wednesday night newsroom or sitting down with Daniel and talking to him. Let's see, Brian. Rumble has an application for Roku to watch on your TV. There is no chat box. Could be the same. Well, now that might explain why the folks out on Rumble aren't saying much. Now, if that's the case for you folks watching us on Rumble, then you have my apologies in advance. I'd forgotten about that point. WWG1 is absolutely right. So I stand corrected. So, and thank you for pointing that out, sir. I do appreciate it. And you would think that Rumble, if they're going to have a Roku application, they would give you the option to be able to chat in. I know YouTube does, but strange things. All right. I want to thank all my guests this week. I had a fabulous week of live streaming. Daniel and I were talking about matters legal. Kelly and Sean and I were talking about Canadian election. We got some international news this morning. Big things are happening in the UK. Big things indeed. I always like to keep an eye on international politics. I mean, not because you never quite know what's going to affect you here on the home front. But some good things are happening in the UK, which we'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, I want to thank Daniel and Sean and Kelly. They are, as I said to them when they were here the last week, they are welcome back here anytime they want. I love having them on the channel. They're a load of fun, very informative. Each one to their own degree is their own form of uniqueness. Sean is definitely his own form of uniqueness. Lord have mercy, that boy. But I love him to death. He's nuts. And, he's welcome back here anytime he wants. So I want to thank them. And I got an interesting idea that was posed to me this week by one of our folks in chat. I will not say who, but I just want you to know this idea is going to be explored. Because if I can find a way to make that work, I would love to do it. I don't know to what degree, but I would love to do it. So we're going to look into it. We'll just leave it at that. A little tease for y'all. Did I have a week better than Shadir Sanders? He's still getting a multi-million-dollar contract, although he may not be getting quite the contract he was hoping for. I don't know, man. I don't know. Do we have a new pope yet? Okay, that's interesting. Do we have a new pope yet? Well, you know what? I thought I saw something. Hang on a second. We might be able to get that question answered. Let's see here. Give me 1 second, because, literally, I thought I saw something come across my feed just a little while ago, and if this is the case, it is big breaking news. Hang on. Where is it? Gosh, come on. Oh, whoa. Wait a minute, folks. Hang on a second. It looks like, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to break news here on the electronic front porch. It looks like we may have indeed a new pope, but I must admit the circumstances are a little bit unusual. Folks, check this out, and you guys tell me what you think here. I don't quite know about this.
Now that smoke is now coming out of the chimney, and you can see the cheers.
We have a new pope.
We have a new pope, and you can hear the cheers from St. Peter's Square.
Okay, well, maybe not. Okay. Maybe not indeed. Sorry about that, folks. False alarm. My bad. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. I saw that on my timeline. I was like, oh, this is just too good. Just too good. WMG1 says, Donald Trump is the new pope. Looks like I was right. God. Oh, we're awful. We're totally awful. We truly, truly are. Oh, goodness me. All right. I'm hoping my internet signal gets better than what it is right now, because if this is how it's going to be all morning, we're in trouble here. Anyway, we'll try and move along, keep the show going. Okay, let's have some fun. We'll start off as we are wont to do with the merry memes, and I've got to thank, as always, Adam from Canada, WWG1 from down here in the States, and anybody else who's contributed to this. In these times in which we find ourselves, prayer is becoming a very important thing. It seems like there is a renewing spiritually across the world, and prayer is not just taking on the form we traditionally think of. It's also taking on, thank yous to the Lord for the bounty and the goodness that he has provided. For example, there's a common prayer that's definitely going up these days, and I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but the prayer goes something like this. Thank you, Lord. As the world gets crazier, the nuts get easier to find. You know, he's not wrong. He's really not wrong. You know. So, yes, Lord, we do thank you that as the world does get crazier, the nuts are indeed easier to find. So, very, very true. Yeah, amen to that. Absolutely. I'll amen that one. I'll amen that one every day and twice on Sunday, y'all. That's for daggone sure. Well, look who just rolled in. Oh, my gosh. It's TBA and Salty Old Fart. How are you two boys doing this morning? Fist bumps to both of you. Glad to have you here in the house. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Glad to have y'all here. Welcome in. It looks like the OG Wingnuts are assembled over there on Rumble. And I hope y'all brought a bunch of friends with you. So, and if you, and again, assuming that you're not, watching this on your TV, assuming that you're not watching this on TV right now, and y'all out there on Rumble, lurk if you feel comfortable doing it. It's perfectly fine. But all your comments will be greatly appreciated to make the chat better. So, yes, I'll tell you what. Oh, Adam. Adam, how could you? Oh, my God. That's just. How could you, sir? How could you? That's just. I don't know what y'all call it up in Canada, but down here in the lower 48, we call that cruel and unusual punishment. I'm just saying. Oh, my gosh. Oh, okay, it was clean. I give you that, but still, I mean, God bless it, man. Anyway, I love my audience. I love my audience. I really love my audience. I love my audience. No, I'm messing with you, man. I'm just messing with you. Anyway, yes, the nuts are becoming much easier to find, but even though they are easier to find, that doesn't mean that they still aren't making us all scratch our heads and go, For example, look at this. How are the tech support calls going? Well, great, but I'm blaming all of our product flaws on climate change. People are totally buying it. That doesn't make sense. You'd be surprised how little that matters. Well, yeah, there you go, folks. There you go. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? Oh, what else do we have in the way of the merry memes this morning? What is this? What's this? What's this, Duke? A comedy pilot called The American Pope, starring Carol O'Connor, did not get picked up. That might be worth me going and seeing if I can find that out on YouTube one of these days. Interesting. T Gagliotti over on Rumble says, I blame all my hot takes on global warming. I can understand where you're coming from with that sentiment, my friend. I understand it. Yeah, definitely a hat tip to Scott Adams. He definitely gets it. And speaking of getting it, we talk about all these crazy nuts that are out there, and they're still showing up in academia. But I think we're finally getting a handle on how to deal with the crazy in academia. I mean, for example, have y'all been to a parent-teacher conference recently? Let me tell you something. The teachers are fighting back. I mean, this one kid tried to identify himself recently as a cat, and look what the teacher did to him. Flunked him. And well, he should have, might I add. Well, he should have. Oh my goodness. I mean, well, look, if your school had a mouse problem, the same place as this, don't you think you'd flunk the kid if he was identifying as a cat? I mean, really? Totally understandable. The grade that kid got. Oh my word. Oh my word indeed. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Oh, by the way, let's talk about Jasmine Crockett for a second. Y'all, I thought that AOC was like the most, perhaps the most memeable woman on the internet. I totally disagree with that. Jasmine Crockett is very quickly creeping up the line as perhaps the most memeable person out there in the whole of social media. I mean, I came across one, and I got to thank Adam for this. I'll thank Adam. Y'all may not wind up thanking him when I show you this, but I got to thank Adam for this one. And you know what? This is so good. This is so good. So I'll just, you know what? I'm just going to let this speak for itself. You know, yeah, well, you know, Lana, you may be right, honey. You may be absolutely right. You may be right. But yeah, this meme, I'm telling you, folks, give it a chance. And before it's all said and done, she's going to be the most memeable woman on the internet, hands down. Okay, we with this next one, we kind of got to go back in time. And oh, you think so? The big old eyelashes are blinding her. Well, you know, it's possible. It is possible. TBA says, you may be right. I may be crazy. Yeah, well, I don't know, but I'm not the lunatic she's looking for. Trust me. Get thee behind me, Satan. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying to her. Well, now this is very true. This is very true, my friend. Now, for this next meme, we got to go back in time a little bit to the 1980s. So, those of us here on this live stream right now of a certain generation are going to appreciate this next meme perhaps more than anybody else. So, with that, you know what? I'll even give you a countdown for this one. In 3, 2, 1. Adam, I just want you to know this, whatever reaction I get for this one is all your fault. I just want you to know that, Adam. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you're sitting there in your chair going, ugh, you can thank Adam for it. Okay? You can thank Adam for it. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, salty old fart's got it right. Pour some sugar on me. Yeah, buddy. TBA says, it's too old for me, LOL. Oh, whatever, TBA. Don't you give me that. T-Gagiati says, yeah, I don't get, okay, it's pour some sugar on me. Well, Def Leppard. Yeah, boy. Never mind. And yeah, Def Leppard is right. Oh my gosh. Oh Lord have mercy. I tell you what. No, hang on. I need to save that one. I need to save that one for a little bit further into the show. Let me. Yeah, this one I gotta save. Give me a second, folks, because I just realized that I need to. Yeah. Okay. Have you guys heard about that congressman up in Michigan that has introduced articles of impeachment against Robert. Oh, Robert, you're killing me, boy. You're killing me. Boy. T. Gagliati says, if you have to explain a meme, it has de facto failed, LMAO. You know, you are probably right. You are probably right. Yeah, here's the name of that guy. Thin Adair from Michigan. he has Indian Jimmy Fallon. Oh, come on. Don't insult Jimmy Fallon like that. Um, he's an animal abuser. Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. I did hear about that story. I did hear about that, Gypsy. You're right. Well, Thander from Michigan has introduced articles of impeachment on Donald Trump. However, given the backlash that he's getting, even from inside his own party, Thander is offering Trump a way out of this. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The man who introduced the articles of impeachment against Donald Trump is offering him a way to get out of it. So I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but he has given Trump the following out. And it goes like this. And if Trump will purchase some iTunes gift cards, this impeachment could be avoided. I mean, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying maybe Trump and his legal team down the line need to hold this card in reserve. So, not saying, but I'm just saying. No, wait, okay. TBA says Thenadar is a beagle abuser. Oh, really? Really? Oh, goodness me. Goodness me. I tell you what. Interesting. Salty Old Fart says Thander's fundraising to pay off his campaign finance fraud. Oh, is that what he's up to? Interesting indeed. All right, one last meme, and I gotta thank WWG1 for this one, but it kind of is going to lead us into our first topic of the morning, and this one's pretty good, And you know what? Some memes just speak for themselves, and this one says a lot. And it's like, I'm just going to leave this one up here. I'm just going to leave this one up here and just let it speak for itself. So take it for what it's worth, ladies and gentlemen. If you're having trouble in that one area, you're probably not going to understand the other one. I'm just saying. Okay. I want to thank WWG1. I want to thank Adam. I want to thank everybody who contributed to the Merry Memes this morning. As always, you guys are completely and totally awesome. I cannot thank you enough. You bring a lot of humor and a lot of head shaking moments for me as the host. So it's like, yeah. No, I'm serious. You guys are fantastic. And as always, thank you so ever very much. All right. Let's get to our first topic of the morning. And last week, particularly Thursday and Friday, we had a whole spate of economic news come out, and some of it we definitely need to touch on because we're kind of at a unique point from my perspective in Trump's presidency. TBA says, Brian, you don't get out much in the meme world, do you? LOL. Oh, now come on now. WWG1 and Adam are bringing some very good memes. Now, yes, I get out in the meme world, but, a spate or a surfeit. Well, I'll let you choose the word on that one. Let's put it that way. I'll let you choose on that one, sir. But there's a whole just plethora, or let's do that, a plethora of economic news out there, and I think some of it definitely needs to be touched on because we're really truly, and I really do mean this, I think we're at a very kind of unique point in Trump's presidency. Let's just start out with some things. It doesn't matter what Donald Trump does, okay? The media, the Democrats, even some members of his own party are going to try to crucify this guy verbally, okay? Absolutely, they're going to do it. And Trump is absolutely trying to upend and redo an entire economic system. Now, what am I talking about? Well, for the past 4 years specifically, and you can make an argument going back to Obama, and you can make an argument going back to Bush, W. Bush, and Clinton, there has been a couple of 3 strains of economic thought that have been running through the economy of the United States and ultimately coming down to Main Street. And those strains are as follows: globalization, the idea that we could, have stronger economic ties with other countries, China in particular, and we can strengthen their manufacturing base. And that way we could get cheaper goods here in America. But the cost of doing that is our manufacturing goes offshore. So you got that strain. You also have the strain of increased government spending. And I mean big time government spending. And it's always been a trend as part of, Keynesian economics, as part of, politically liberal economic thinking. But it really got kicked into high gear in the 4 years of the Biden administration. My God, they were spending at the federal level for job creation like nothing I've ever seen. So you got that strain running through the economy. You also have a strain that says, hey, we can spend money because, guess what? It doesn't matter if we have a budget deficit. We control the printing press. Okay. So you got that strain going on. So Donald Trump, in his second term, is trying to upend and reorder an entire economic system that doesn't just go back to Joe Biden. This goes back for years. Okay. Decades. And it's real early in that effort. So it's kind of hard to judge how successful Donald Trump is being. And I say that as somebody who's a supporter of Trump. Okay. Now I'm not a blind, I've always said I'm not a blind supporter of Donald Trump. If I think he's screwing something up, I'll come out and say it. Okay. And yeah, there are some moments so far in the first 100 days I'm thinking, dude, really? Really? One thing that frustrates me to no end, and by the way, this thought is not original to me, but I share the sentiment. I was watching America's Untold Stories the other day, which is the live stream that's hosted by Eric Hunley and Mark Grobert, and they had Rich Barris on, which I didn't know he was going to be on, but they had him on there. And Barris makes a very good point, and that is Donald Trump and his administration, and it doesn't matter if you go back to the first term or you're going back to right now, they are notoriously bad at not communicating why they're doing something. They'll communicate that they're doing it, but they don't explain to the voter why they're doing it. Okay? And I think part of that comes from the temptation in a campaign. You think you win the campaign and you think everybody understands what it is you're going to do, but more particularly, you think they understand why you're going to do it. That's not the case. And Barris made this point the other day, and I wholeheartedly concur with him. And that is, they need to communicate why they're doing it. Donald Trump may be doing the right thing, and I'm not saying he's not. I agree with these moves. Most every move he's making so far, I totally agree with. These things need to happen. But to the average voter that doesn't follow politics on an everyday basis, you've got to explain why you're doing it. Otherwise, people are going to be like, whoa, man. They read a headline, they're like, whoa, man, I'm not used to this kind of thing. Well, yeah, you got to explain why. TBA says if politicians ever explain the why, they would be revealing how much they are enslaving us. Dirty pool, old man. Okay, that's a fair point. to explain what you're doing assumes they know what they're doing to begin with. No. Well, you sort of hope that's the case. You hope they know what they're doing. I just think it'd be better. I just think it'd be better if they explain the why. And yeah, Robert, I think you're absolutely right. Comms have been almost as bad as the promotional faux pas. Yeah, they really have. I mean, everybody gets excited when Stephen Miller goes out and owns the liberals. That's the common phrase that gets used these days. They need more than that. They need more than Caroline Leavitt, smacking down a reporter in the press room. They need more than Stephen Miller, going out, in front of the White House. You need a consistent messaging of why you're doing what you're doing. I mean, the American people are a very intelligent group. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is, we're not talking like everybody's got a PhD, but there is just an ingrained common sense to the American people. And if you appeal to that and you explain why you're doing it, more often than not, they're going to be like, okay, all right, I get it. Is it going to work? I don't know, but I understand why you're doing it. Okay. But the Trump administration is not doing that, or not enough of it, So that's one thing I definitely don't like. But let's get back to the economics for a minute. It's very early, and no one knows for sure in the long term whether Trump's efforts are going to be successful. And if they are successful, will they generate the kind of results that he says they will? Now, we all hope they do. I am very hopeful. I want to see manufacturing come back to the United States. Okay? I live in an area, I would love to see factories of 200, 300 men and women, or upwards of 1,000, whatever. I want to see manufacturing come back. I want to see us make our own things of what we need. Don't get me wrong. I know there are some things you're just going to have to import them. I understand that. But I've always been of the thought I would much rather us make what we need. And if, God forbid, we get in a pinch somewhere around the world, we're not relying on somebody else to bail us out. There's a lot of reasons why you want your manufacturing base in your own country. One of them is a question of national security. Let's just take as an example. China right now manufactures most of the pharmaceutical drugs that we take. This got brought up and pointed out during the pandemic. We're sitting there going, okay, we need gloves, we need masks, we need surgical gowns, we need, whatever. Well, now we're finding out the Chinese are making most of it. So it's bad enough. Not only did the virus come from there, now we're not only that, but we got to get our stuff from the people that gave us the virus. So it's very early on trying to figure out if what Trump is trying to do is going to work and if it's going to have the results we all hope for. Now, I set that up to say this next. That said, there is one thing so far. Let me add a so far here. There is one thing that is happening that I think is to the benefit of the nation and to the benefit of Trump in particular. And that is the economic news coming out so far is defying expectation. Now, what am I getting at? Like I said, the Democrats, the media, people inside the Republican Party, it doesn't matter what Trump proposes. They're going to predict gloom and doom. They're going to predict, Oh my God, it's the end of the world. I can't believe Trump's doing this. We're all going to economic hell, yada, yada, yada. These tariffs. Oh my God, what are you doing? You're going to kill the economy. The market's going to crash. 401ks are going to go to hell. I mean, everything just, is a disaster. We're headed for the Great Depression, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Well, we're starting to get some economic news. Now, again, we're just a couple of 3 months into Trump's second term. And again, it's early, but the news that's coming out is defying the current intelligentsia's economic expectation. What am I talking about? Check this headline out from CNBC. U.S. payroll growth totals 177,000 in April, defying expectations. Key points in an article written by Jeff Cox from CNBC. Non-farm payrolls increased a seasonally adjusted 177,000 for the month, slightly below the downward revised 185 in March, but above the estimate of 133. Unemployment rate stayed steady at 4.2%, indicating the labor market is holding relatively stable. Average hourly earnings rose just 0.2%, below the 0.3, while annual rate of 3.8 was also 0.1% less than expected. Okay. Now, there's some other things in this job number that I think need to be pointed out. For example, I mentioned the unemployment rate a minute ago. The survey of households, which is used to calculate the jobless rate, showed an even stronger gain, with an increase of 436,000 in those reported holding jobs on the month. A broader unemployment gauge that includes discouraged workers and those holding part-time jobs for economic reasons edged lower to 7.8. The labor force participation ticked up to 62.6%. In other words, people are seeking jobs. They're holding down jobs. We're actually gaining job numbers. This is good news. This is very good news. Remember how everybody said, oh my God, the tariffs, the tariffs, the tariffs. Oh my God, the tariffs. The tariffs are gonna lead to economic disaster. Remember that? Remember that? Remember all that? Okay. Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, is emerging as one of my favorite members of the Trump administration. And there's a quote that he recently got off on an interview with Martha Raddatz on This Week, ABC's show that purports as a journalism program on Sundays. Watch this. This is great. In 3, 2, 1.
And also, when I look at some of the things that are being published, there was a story 10 days ago that said this is the worst April for the stock market since the Great Depression. 10 days later, the NASDAQ is now up on the month of April, and I haven't seen a story that says, oh, stock market has biggest bounce.
I'll go ahead and finish that for everybody. Basically, what he said was, I haven't seen a story yet about how we are in the biggest bounce back in the stock market. Well, guess what, Mr. Bessent, Mr. Treasury Secretary? You've now got your story. Check this out. Let me pop this up here. Dow jumps 500 points. S&P posts longest win streak in 20 years as stocks claw back tariff losses. Live update. We're getting economic good news. Truly, we are. We're getting economic good news. It's slowly coming in. Now, let me also add a caveat here, okay? Let me add a very important caveat. It's very early, okay? It's very, very early. And to be totally fair, we don't know yet if Trump's economic policies, the things that he's enacted in this first 100 days, if they're going to be successful and if they're going to produce the results that he and we hope. I mean, I think that's being just totally fair about it. Okay. But there are some green shoots out there. That's why I entitled this morning's, brunch, Economic News and Hope. Okay. There's a lot of hope going on right now. There's a lot of finger crossing. Now, in the end, do I think that, yeah, this could happen? Sure, I do. I genuinely do. Will it happen? Barring some surprise I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. I really do believe it. Well, that's legit. You know what? That's legitimate. Hope or cope. Yeah, that's good. That's a good point. That's a real good point. I am hopeful that these policies that Trump's putting into place are going to lead to the kind of prosperity we'd all like to see. It's early, but there are some green shoots out there, little coming up through the ground that give me reason to hope. So we'll see. In other economic news, and this one's got the potential to be big. I mean, really big. Let me get this pulled up here for you guys. I don't know if you guys saw this morning or not, but I came across this. OPEC agrees to another accelerated oil output hike in June, sources told Reuters. Don't have an author on this one. 8 OPEC plus countries meeting on Saturday have agreed to further accelerated oil output hike for June of 411,000 barrels a day, two sources told Reuters, while an online meeting of the countries was underway. Last month, the 8 countries made a larger than planned output hike for May, also 411,000 barrels per day. Together with the U.S. trade tariffs, the decision helped drive oil prices below 60% a barrel to a 4-year low. Sources said the June increase had been agreed as the countries held an online meeting brought forth on Monday to decide on output. Oil prices fell over 1% on Friday as traders braced for more OPEC plus supply when concerns of an economic slowdown caused by a trade war between the U.S. and China have prompted forecasters to lower demand growth expectations for the year. Brent crude futures on Friday closed down 84 cents at $61.29 a barrel. Okay, let's talk about this for a minute. TBA, you just beat me to it. I love you, and you just beat me to it, but we're going to talk about this. TBA over on Rumble says, accelerated oil output, huh? I guess gas price is going to drop again. Winning, yeah. See, here's the thing. And again, I'm repeating the news as I hear it. I'm kind of like you. I'm keeping my eyes open. Whenever you look at when you're watching like Yahoo Finance or let's say CNBC or whatever, okay, you're looking at the futures price on oil. Okay, in other words, what's oil going to be running about 6 months from now? So TBA brings up a very valid point. That's the futures price on a barrel of oil, 5-6 months out. Guys, we could be heading for a much lower gas price. RBOB is $2.02 a gallon. That's the wholesale price of gas. Yeah. We could be heading for lower gas prices. Let's see, it's May right now, June, July, August, September, October, November. Yeah, by October, November, we could be heading from lower gas prices from where we are right now. So, And and T. Gagliotti says, yeah, all the smart comments come from over here on Rumble. Now, that's no way to be to your brethren over there on YouTube. We tell them to head on over to from YouTube where Brian doesn't broadcast. I tell you the truth. Anyway, but yeah, oil prices are coming down, which means gas prices will follow, or more to the point, they should, all things being equal. Now, that's some good economic news. Now, you guys may have heard there is one thing that's a little bit troubling to people. Well, hey, we heard that the gross domestic product number came in and we're now negative. We're negative. We're in negative territory. It's all Trump's fault. How dare they? I can't believe this. Blah, 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 blah. Trump, that dirty, no good rat. Now we've got negative economic growth. I want to play you guys something from an economist by the name of Peter St. Onge. He's a PhD. He has a Twitter page, and occasionally I pop in on some of what he's got going. And he's made some observations as it relates to that negative GDP number. And there's one thing that the main headline didn't tell you, but I think it ought to be pointed out. So with that in mind, do me a favor and check this out. We'll listen to what he has to say right now.
It's official. GDP is negative, and it is glorious. Last week, the Bureau of Economic Analysis reported that GDP...
Oh, come on. Do not do this to me.
...for the first 3 months of 2025 turned negative for the first time since 2022. The kicker is all of it was caused by a 41% surge of imports front-running tariffs, which official GDP bizarrely counts as negative GDP. Without those, actual GDP soared by 4.5%, which is Asia level. Actually gets better because government spending dropped for the first time since 2022, control for that, and the economy grew by nearly 5% on the quarter, which, fun fact, is double China's current growth rate.
Well, now doesn't that put some things into perspective? Did you catch that? Okay, so it's like February or March. Trump is talking tariffs. And all of a sudden, manufacturers over here in the U.S. or folks that have to import their stuff are like, hey, man, we better get while the getting's good here. We need to get our hands on our stuff right now before these daggone tariffs hit, because if they hit, it's going to cost us big time. Okay? So, what did they do? They imported a bunch of stuff. Well, according to him, and various other people, by the way, he's not the only one saying this. If that's the case, and you had a big rush of imports come in, well, guess what? That's counted as a negative against the GDP number, which means, if he's right, as opposed to a contraction in quarter number one, what we should have had was like a growth rate well above what numbers we had. And the boys over on Rumble, I get where you're coming from. I'm seeing comments like, we don't trust these numbers in the U.S. T. Gagliotti says, I don't trust growth rates coming from the U.S. TBA is like, see, we don't trust any of the numbers, and why should we? I get it. I just point this out. I'm not so sure that negative GDP growth, domestic growth product number, ought to be taken at face value. Just saying. So, oh, by the way, did you guys see Van Jones's interview this week? So now that the mainstream media has been out there spreading all the news that they possibly can, which in their case, the news is about the equivalent of fertilizer. That's why I use the word spread. So Van Jones decides to go out and have a conversation with African Americans, particularly those who voted for Donald Trump. And poor old Van Jones got himself the biggest shock to his system that he may have had in a while. Folks, do me a favor, because I think you're going to get a kick out of this. And we'll watch this in 3, 2, 1.
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump again, yes or no?
Yes, I would. Now, in the future, I am not a diehard Democrat or a diehard Republican. If there were a Democratic candidate who was more aligned for me, then I would vote Democrat.
Okay, I want to stop right there for 1 second, because there is a point that needs to be made here, and it's a very important one. Okay? Very important. And this is a word of warning. Excuse me. This is a word of warning to the Republican Party in general. Okay? Right now, you are enjoying the fatted calf, so to speak, politically. Okay? You have Hispanics coming to the Republican Party. You have African Americans coming to the Republican Party in record numbers. Okay? Times are good politically. But that young lady made a very, very, very valid point. And that is, she's not necessarily Republican, nor is she necessarily Democrat. If someone comes along that she agrees with on the issues, she could vote Democrat again. Real easy. Real easy. And let me tell you something. To the current intelligentsia that supposedly makes up the Republican Party, I got bad news for you guys. I got real bad news for you. You step off of these policies that Trump is trying to enact, which you're trying to do right now, by the way, and don't think we all don't see it. Okay? If you congressional Republicans had your way about it, you'd do the same thing to Trump right now that you did to him back in 2017, 2018. You'd just bury what he wants to do and go on down the road, trying to enact your tax cuts and your, country club republicanism. Okay? But that girl just said something that ought to scare you to death. If the right person came along that tries to talk about the policy she believes in, and they happen to be a Democrat, that new voter that voted for your Republican presidential candidate, they're gone. Same thing with the Hispanics. Same thing with everybody else. They're out of here. The only reason that the Republican Party is doing as well as it is right now is because of Donald Trump. When Donald Trump is off the political scene, you Republicans out there, you big poobahs that run your party, let me tell you something. When Donald Trump is gone, you guys have a very nasty choice on your hands. And it's this. You embrace Trumpism and you keep on being successful, or you think, okay, we finally got rid of him. Now we can go back to being what we were and straighten out the mess that Donald Trump made of our party. You do that and you will lose. I mean, right now, the Democrat Party is on the edge of political extinction. Let me say that again. The Democrat Party, as currently understood, known, and constituted, is right on the edge of political extinction. And the reason that they're on the edge of it is, in part, because they have abandoned the policies that Donald Trump has adopted. Think back to the 1980s and the 1990s. The Democrat Party was the party of the working man. The Democrat Party was the party of auto workers and steel workers and laborers of varying kinds. The Democrat Party was supposedly for the small guy. Okay? The Democrat Party wanted to see taxes kept low for lower income individuals. Sound familiar? That's Donald Trump in 2025. That's Donald Trump when he says no tax on tips. That's Donald Trump when he says no tax on Social Security. That's Donald Trump when he says no tax on overtime. That's Donald Trump when he says, I want to find a way to generate enough tariff revenue so that we don't have to have taxes on individuals making less than $150,000 a year. The Democrat Party is on the edge of political extinction because they have abandoned the policies and the people that once were their base. They are chasing after a fringe of individuals, and the further they chase after them, the further they get away from the mainstream of American politics. And they're going to become irrelevant. I'm going to show you some stuff here in a little while. It's going to blow your mind. Absolutely blow your mind. Harry Enton and the folks at CNN did some polling recently, or they got their hands on some of it. And it's just blowing their mind. They can't believe how bad it is for the Democrat Party right now. So yeah, it's just horrible. Matter of fact, we're going to get into that stuff from Harry Enton here in just a second. Before we do, since it's near the bottom of the hour, let me do a real quick commercial. And I tell you what, we got a lively crowd this morning here on YouTube. We got a lively crowd here on Rumble. Glad you guys are all here, and thank you for stopping by this morning. My name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please do so. This live stream is known as Front Porch Brunch. We do live streams during the week. On the weekends, we do videos, try to have guests on for conversation purposes. I love what I'm doing, and I love you guys are here. If you would not mind, if you are not subscribed to my channel, please, please, please subscribe. Would love to have you here, and thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing. It's a pleasure to have you here, be it on YouTube, be it on Rumble. We're also on Twitter. So yes, please enjoy what we're trying to do. Subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, hit the bell for notifications. Do everything you guys are doing. You guys are absolutely, absolutely amazing. I love you guys so very much. All right. Let me see if I can catch up with chat a little bit. See if there's anything here I want to bring up. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And see, Highness, I understand exactly where you're coming from. I get it. There's a lot of people just like you, dear. You know, they don't have, I mean, look, I was a Republican from the time I was 18 years old until 2021. I am now a political independent. And I left the Republican Party because of what they did to Donald Trump. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Lana. A lot of people came because of Trump, not the Republican Party. And yeah, the GOP would do very well to realize this. Very much so. You know. Totally true. Totally true. TBA over on Rumble says, the Democrat Party was never for the little guy. They've always been for themselves. They've been lying to us ever since the Civil War. Tiki Agati says, Trump says a lot of things end up not happening. All right, fair point. Fair point. Very fair point. I agree with that. Salty Old Fart says, have you read The Art of the Deal? There's a method to his madness. That is true. That is true. All right. Let us shift topics ever so slightly, although these are indeed related. Did you guys happen to see CNN this week? Man, I thought Harry Enton was going to faint. One of the sections that I wanted to talk about this morning, and I put in the title of the live stream, was Democrat futures. And I would have put it longer, but YouTube limits the amount of characters in the title of a live stream. I really want to call it the future of the Democrat Party. And right now, it's bleak. I mean, I mentioned it a little bit ago as it relates to economic news, but it's really bleak. And Harry Enton got a hold of some numbers. Matter of fact, it was actually, I'm sorry, I stand corrected. It was CNN's own poll. And this clip runs about 3.5 minutes. And I'm really hoping my internet doesn't like lock up on me while you guys are watching this. And I apologize for the troubles this morning. But this runs 3.5 minutes. I'll stop where I think we need to. But this is definitely worth looking at. Okay, it really is. So with that, I want you guys to listen to this because by CNN's own polling, these guys are in way, way deep doo-doo. And with that, here is Harry Holy Cow Enton.
Who would be doing a better job as president? Guess who comes out on top? Within the margin of error, comes on top. This looks a lot like the election result, right? Trump 45%, 2 points ahead of Harris at 43%. 12% say they'd be doing about the same. But this is the key nugget here. It's not just about regretting that vote. It's literally saying who would be doing the better job right now. And Trump continues to score a higher percentage of the vote than Kamala Harris. This looks a heck of a lot like the election result. We have just seen this in poll after poll after poll. Despite the fact that Trump's favorable ratings aren't too hot to trot, when he's matched up against who he was matched up in 2024, he still, across the polls, scores a higher percentage than Kamala Harris does.
Even if they don't know exactly what she would have done, they still went for Donald Trump. Okay, what about when he's matched up against congressional Democrats who we know have had some pretty rough numbers?
Yeah, they have had some pretty rough numbers. So Kamala Harris obviously doesn't hold elected office right now, but Democrats in Congress sure do. So who do you trust more on the U.S. main problems, the main problems in the United States? Well, what do we have here? It's the same exact picture, folks. It's the same exact picture. When you match Donald Trump against his actual competition, Donald Trump comes out ahead. Look at this.
Okay, I'm going to stop this one right here for a minute because this one needs to be pointed out. Donald Trump right now has an 8-point lead on Democrats. And on and on and on the number goes. Yeah, T, you ain't wrong, brother. But yeah, WWG1, I saw your suggestion. Yeah, the shock is absolutely hysterical. Donald Trump holds an 8-point lead on congressional Democrats. Let me show you another one. It's not a video, but it is worth pointing out. Yeah, here it is. This is from Frank Luntz. Trump has an 8-point lead in polls over congressional Democrats when voters are asked who can better deal with the biggest problems of America. The Republicans have a 9-point lead over Democrats when voters are asked which party has a better plan for the economy. Now, let's give this some context. Am I saying that the Democrats will win, or let me rephrase that. Am I saying that the Democrats will take over the House in November of 2026? Maybe. They might. I mean, if history is any guide, they could still do it. Despite all the problems they've got, they could still, on the basis of history, they could still win. They could still win. despite the fact that Americans don't think they have any good plan on the economy, they think Trump and the Republicans are better on the economy. They think Trump is better at dealing with problems than our congressional Democrats. They could still win the House of Representatives because the margin is just that tight. But let's just say for a moment they win in 2026. Let's say they get back one or both houses. What does that do for them? And I'm serious. I'm serious when I ask that question. Yeah, Kawan, I think you're absolutely right. When you've lost Frank Luntz, it's a good sign you've lost the country. T. Gagliotti says Luntz is the favorite pollster of the New World Order. And yes, his toupee is ridiculous. Well, you ain't wrong there. You're not wrong there at all, my friend. And what's the Democrat Party looking like going forward? Well, I think it was Gypsy and Up in Connecticut sent me this one from earlier this week. I had this is from Tony Saruga. He said, I had a conversation with one of the biggest Democrat Party donors. His net worth is in the $5 billion range. He is beyond furious. He was informed yesterday by Democrat leadership they're going to run Kamala Harris for governor of California. Okay, so you run Kamala Harris for governor of California. Gets her out of the way. Does it really help your party? I don't know. I have always said that people want to vote for something. They don't want to vote in the negative. By that, I mean this. Your campaign strategy should not be, hey, vote for me because I'm not nearly as bad as the other schmuck. That is not inspiring. People want to be inspired to support something. They want to be inspired to vote for something. They're aspirational. They aspire to be higher and better than they are right now. Do they always succeed at it? No, not necessarily. Be it in politics or anything else. Okay? But they want to vote for something. The Democrats are giving the American people nothing to vote for. Can somebody explain to me, and I'm serious about this, I really am. Can somebody explain to me what it is the Democrats want to do on the economy to make it better for you, for me, for anybody else? Somebody explain to me what it is the Democrats want to do toward making the economy better. I don't know. I don't. I follow politics all the time. I am yet to see anybody, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Adam Schiff, I'm yet to see anybody in the Democrat Party lay out a proposal that benefits the average American. Well, now I can just hear some defenders of the Democrat Party. Well, they don't have the bully pulpit of the president. That doesn't matter. Does not matter. They should be able to lay out an economic agenda. I am yet to see anybody do it. TBA says, how many times have I said that the Democrats' plan is to destroy the nation? People are waking up to that fact and they don't like it. Now, I think that is a very good point. I really do. Look, there's a lot of things you can say about Donald Trump and his time on the American political scene. But if nothing else, either by absolute accident or by the fact that he has done things to get the Democrats to reveal themselves, people are looking at what the Democrat Party as constituted And there are exceptions. There are exceptions. But people are looking at what the Democrat Party is and they're going, this is nuts. These people have lost their minds. They don't care about me anymore. They don't care about my family. They don't care about our struggles. They probably care about a bunch of donors somewhere up in the Hamptons or out in San Francisco or wherever, but they don't care about me. They don't care about my hometown. You know, and yeah, Gypsy, I think you're absolutely right. They have nothing. Tear it down. I don't think anyone at the DNC has any ideas other than stopping Trump. And I get YouTube ads all the time with that same message: stop Trump. Nothing at all about what their economic exactly. And sooner or later, hate only gets you so far. That's it. You only get so far on hate before the average voter says, okay, I know you don't like Donald Trump. Now tell me what you're going to do for me. What are you going to do to make my life better? They can't tell it. They can't answer the question because they got nothing. Then on top of that, you have an out and out civil war going on inside the Democrat Party. Did you guys hear? You may have. Give me an F in the chat if you did. Did you guys hear about the retirement of Senator Dick Durbin from Illinois? Durbin's hanging it up. Been there since 96. He's done. But now, and keep in mind, he's like 79, 80 years old, so I kind of get it. But he's just, yeah, okay, all right. WWG1 heard about this. He's done. He's hanging it up. But he's scared to death of getting primary. And if you don't believe me, I got something here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to drop this in chat. It's a 6-minute video from Victor Davis Hanson. And by the way, if you're not following Victor Davis Hanson, oh man, I don't know what to do for you because this is good. I really recommend you watch this. But somebody broke this down, and it's a really good thread on Twitter. There is an old guard in the Democrat Party, the Biden generation, which Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, Durbin, etc. And they're being run out by Ilhan Omar, AOC, Tlaib, all the rest of them. They're just flat out running them out. And in that video that I just clipped for you, and it's in chat, you're going to see there. I've said for a while now, there is a generational shift that's going on inside the Democrat. And it's also true of the Republicans. I mean, you got McConnell on his way out. Okay. But there's a generational shift that's happening. But that generational shift is much more pronounced in the Democrat Party than it is the Republicans. There's a lot of things to blame the Clintons for. Hillary and Bill. But Bill and Hillary froze the field. Now, what am I talking about? Oh, I agree with you. He is. There's so many different better options than John Thune. I'd have loved to see Rick Scott get it, although Rick Scott's not my ideal either. But yeah, I agree with you here, Kawan. Now, what do I mean when I say that Hillary and Bill froze the field? Yeah, Barack Obama got in for 2 terms. But Bill and Hillary, but Hillary in particular, did not want anybody challenging her. Have you noticed how old the Democrat Party is in its leadership? Biden, before he stepped away, he was in his 80s. Pelosi is in her 80s. Steny Hoyer, before he stepped down, was in his 80s. Clyburn of South Carolina. Okay. You got a really old political party and not much of a bench coming up behind them. Really not much of a bench. And it's killing them. By the way, I'm going to drop another link, and this is a really great article by Rui Teixeira. He's a Democrat, but you can have a conversation with this guy. Yeah, this is a good way to describe him, Gypsy. Old elite establishment. Rui Teixeira has a great website called The Liberal Patriot. Oh, yeah, this is another good point about these guys. They're all old and they're all very wealthy. Funny how that happened. But Rui Teixeira has a great website called The Liberal Patriot. And he does an analysis in this article that I just dropped in chat. He does an analysis of all the contenders for the Democrat Party, and he puts them into certain categories. And in the end of his analysis, he comes to the conclusion there's nothing really all that exciting about the current field of Democrat contenders. Now, I'll read you the last paragraph of his article. That may not matter in the end if the Trump administration becomes unpopular enough. Any Democrat, even AOC, might be able to beat the Republican nominee, but the Democrats should be looking for a candidate who can maximize their chances of victory in any situation and rehabilitate their image among working-class voters and in vast areas of the country where their brand is currently toxic. I am not optimistic this is happening or is likely to happen. And keep in mind, Rui Teixeira is a Democrat. Rui Teixeira is a Democrat, and he's looking around at the crop of candidates, and you got people like Buttigieg, Ruben Gallego, Whitmer, Pritzker, Newsom, Jared Polis, maybe, on and on and on, and there's nothing. I mean, to a man or a woman, each and every one of them has a weakness. I mean, you know, you guys have heard me say it. I think the smartest thing the Democrats will ever do is if they nominate somebody like a Josh Shapiro. Problem is, Democrats will never do it. They don't like Jewish people. Yeah, I said it. The Democrats do not like Jewish people. They don't. Therefore, they're not going to nominate them. And it's a crying shame. But would they do it? Would they really do it? Would they nominate a Stephen A. Smith? I don't know. I really don't. I don't know that they do it. I mean, we'll see. I just don't see him doing it. Should they? Yeah, they should. Or something different than what they're doing right now, because what they're doing is killing them. Oh, okay. All right. No, you don't think they do it, or no, they shouldn't nominate Smith? You know, I just want to make sure I'm understanding where you're coming from on this. TBA says, Josh Shapiro, he's a snake. The Dems won't have to worry about who to nominate for any seat in government because they won't exist by 2026. They're going to exist. I think Victor Davis Hanson is right. There is a very big civil war going on inside the Democrat Party. And as it's currently constituted right now, it may not last much longer. I mean, it'll still be around by 26. WWG1 says, I don't think they should remain as a party. Oh, I don't disagree with you, sir. For everything they've done to the United States, no, they shouldn't exist as a party. They're going to. But I think there's coming a point where between age, the civil war inside the Democrat Party, the lack of a positive economic message, the lack of, for the foreseeable future, a really viable presidential candidate, I'm telling you, at the rate they're going. Oh, and one more factor I forgot to put in. One more factor. The self-examination necessary to make change, I don't think the Democrats have it. I really don't. I don't think they realize what has brought them to the problems that they have. I don't think they get it. You factor all that together, all those things together, they're not going to win the presidency back anytime soon. And I'm not so sure how well they're going to do at the congressional level. TBA says, for self-examination needs self-awareness, of which the Democrats have none. Yeah, that's the problem. That's the biggest problem right there. They don't. They have no sense of self-awareness. They really don't get it. They don't. They don't understand how bad this is for them. They do not get it. And again, this is not to say they occasionally might not win one House of Congress, whatever, but as a party going forward, unless they do some serious soul searching and a serious change of how they do things, they're done. Oh, and Lana, I think you're absolutely right, dear. Problem the Democrats have is the younger candidates are so clueless, their own traditional voters won't touch them because yeah. I mean, Durbin was smart. Durbin from Illinois was smart. He got out. He's like, look, I'm not going to get primaried and I ain't going to fight with this. He's getting out. Schumer won't be too far behind. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I tell you what. Let us get to a section of the show that I always think is a load of fun, and that is HodgePodge Stew. Now, for those of you not familiar with HodgePodge, HodgePodge is that section of the show where I've got some headlines from different things that I've culled together. They're headlines that maybe are not top of mind or they're not the biggest things going on the internet, but I definitely think they're worth discussing. Okay. And before I do that, let me do one last real quick commercial this morning. My name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative, and you have found your way to my live stream, which is Front Porch Brunch. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please do me a favor. Give me a subscription on YouTube and on Rumble. Also, hit the thumbs up in both places. Hit the bell for notifications. Let's make sure you're always aware when new stuff is coming out. Would love to have you as part of Fedora Nation because we got a very fun group of people. All right. HodgePodge Stew. I want to start out with a meme. And this is compliments of WWG1. And I said I had some international news for you guys. Well, this meme kind of sets up what we're going to be talking about first. Keir Starmer, the current Prime Minister of Great Britain. You know, everybody wonders what his agenda is as being the leader of, the British Empire. Well, somebody came up with a meme that probably best describes, what freedom and opportunity is like in Great Britain. And it looks something like this. This is the UK edition of Monopoly. And I see a lot of similarity. I will say that much. Go to jail, 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 go to jail. Okay. Excuse me. And I see Sean from Third Railify is in the house. How are you doing this morning, brother? Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. And by the way, if you're not subscribed to Third Railify on Rumble and on YouTube, what the heck is the matter with you? Because that's got to be one of the hardest working Canadians I think I've ever seen. Yeah, he's got a great channel, has a great sense of humor, very talented guests, a lot of fun. Follow his work. He's a good dude. Now, I show you that meme to set up this. Did you guys know that in Great Britain this morning, that they had local elections? Now, what do I mean by local elections? Well, think of your local city council races, your local mayor's races, your county commission races here in the United States. Well, they had the equivalent of that over in Great Britain. And how do I want to put it as far as what happened to how do I want to put it in terms of what happened to Keir Starmer's Labour Party? Oh, yeah, I think I know the expression I want to use. Nigel Farage and the Reform UK Party basically held Keir Starmer by the nose and kicked his rear end all up and down the British Isles. What Reform UK did to Labour and the Conservative Party in Great Britain is just a good old-fashioned butt-kicking. And if you don't believe me, check out this headline from the UK Guardian. Farage claims Reform UK local election gains beginning of the end of the Tories. Hard right party wins by-election with a 17-point swing from Labour and adds more than 500 council seats in the British Isles. Article by Peter Walker, Eleni Correa, and Kieran Stacey. We've got the following. Nigel Farage claims he has broken the grip of Britain's two main political parties as Reform UK gained an MP, a member of parliament, and swept to a string of victories in England's local elections, making deep inroads into Labour and Conservative heartlands. On a sobering day for Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch, the head of the Conservatives, that brought immediate recriminations, Reform took hundreds of councillors from the struggling Tories and won the Runcorn and Helsby by-election by just 6 votes ahead of Labour. In sign of fracturing of political loyalties, a BBC projection about how the voting would have looked in a UK-wide election put Reform at 30%, Labour at 20%, the Liberal Democrats at 17%, Conservatives at 15%, and Greens 11%. An increasingly jubilant Farage said his hard-right populist party had now supplanted the Conservatives as he pledged that Reform-run councils and mayoralties would block asylum seekers seeking accommodation and, in a direct echo of Donald Trump, dismantle equality programs. Quote, "We dug very deep into the Labour vote, and in other parts of England we've dug into the Conservative vote, and we are now, after tonight, there's no question, in most of our country, we are now the main opposition party to this government," Farage said. 500. Over 500 city council seats across Great Britain. Over 500, ladies and gentlemen, up and down the British Isles. Not just city council seats in Great Britain, mayors. Now, is this members of parliament? Is this House of Lords? No. We're a long way from that kind of election. But Reform UK may be laying the groundwork for a big sweep coming ahead. Yeah, it's a good way to put it. They got spanked. Could be. Could be. But I will say this. From what I understand about watching British politics, and I'd love to have some of the boys from the Lotus Eaters on here sometime for an interview. But from what I understand from observing British politics, Keir Starmer right now may be one of the most unpopular prime ministers in the history of Great Britain, regardless of party. There is no, I mean, his party gets spanked in these council seat and mayoral elections. What's the first thing he's talking about? Ukraine. TBA says Farage is cleaning up Britain from the bottom up, grassroots sort of reform. See, that's what I'm thinking. Nigel Farage and Reform UK are setting the base. All these council seats, these mayoralities, that's what I think they're doing. They're laying the groundwork to get their candidates around Great Britain for the next House of Commons election. I mean, we'll see what's happening. I get it, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, I saw that headline and I was like, "Ooh, that's pretty big." Now, speaking of foreign politics, by the way, for all of us out here, there are moments when being a conservative or a populist or a libertarian or a right-leaning individual makes you think that your government is going to try and get you banned all the time. Well, okay, under Biden they did. But how would you like to be a member of the AfD party in Germany right now? Especially when your own intelligence agency of your own government links you as an extremist. Wonder what I'm talking about? Check this out. From Fox News, intelligence agency classifies country's popular Alternative for Germany party as extremist. You heard me right. Article by Bree Stimson. We've got the following. Germany's domestic intelligence agency, the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution, or the BFV, on Friday classified the country's popular Alternative for Germany party as, quote, extremist. Yeah, that's right, folks. Quote, central to our assessment is the ethnically and ancestrally defined concept of the people that shapes the AfD, which devalues entire segments of the population in Germany and violates their human dignity, the BFV explained. The concept is reflected in the party's overall anti-migrant and anti-Muslim stance. AfD slammed the decision, calling it a blow against democracy, claiming it was clearly politically motivated, which the BFV denies. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. The intelligence service for the German nation has declared that one of their own political parties is extremist. That's kind of a wild take. Wow. Just wow. Unbelievable. Yeah. Oh, what else have we got? A couple other stories. Oh, by the way, did you guys hear that Tim Walz is now the code talker to white guys? You guys heard about this? I got to thank Gypsy for sending me this one. Tim Walz recently gave a speech at the Harvard Institute of Politics and explained why it was that why he was picked as the vice presidential nominee. Oh yeah, he said it himself. And that's the part that cracks you up the most. So folks, do me a favor and check this out, and hopefully you enjoy it.
I knew I was on the ticket. I would argue because we did a lot of amazing progressive things in Minnesota that improved people's lives. But I also was on the ticket, quite honestly, because I could code talk to white guys watching football, fixing their truck, doing that I could put them at ease. I was the permission structure to say, look, you can do this and vote for this. And you look across those swing states, with the exception of Minnesota, we didn't get enough of the.
Woo. The cope is real. That's all I'm going to say. The cope is real. Wow. Yeah. 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 That's funny. That is funny. Very funny indeed. Very funny indeed. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Too good. Wow. Just wow. All right. I think I'm going to save some of this for later throughout the week. We're going to go ahead and bring this one into the station. I want to thank you guys for being here this morning. I'm sorry for some of the technical problems. I promise I will try to get these worked out. Anyway, glad you guys have been here. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will be back this week with new videos. I'll be doing a Wednesday night live stream. And in the meanwhile, hit the thumbs up as you guys get ready to depart. Thanks for being here. You guys have been a blast as always. Like I said, new videos, live streams next week. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And remember the words of that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall, when he said, "It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money." Have a great weekend, guys. We'll catch up with you later.